Welcome everyone to this week's Herp Monday. Today we are on Herp Monday number 8. We have a really good one. Yes, today's pet, or today's Herp, you can actually have as a pet. Now, I want you to listen to something here. Hear that? Ooh. It is not a kookaburra. This is a herp. Although you can make an argument in that birds are reptiles. But no, today's herp is the Tokay Gecko. Tokay Gecko, or scientific name Gecko. I am not making it up. The scientific name of this animal right here, Gecko. Tokay Gecko is part of the family Geckonidae, which is your family of true geckos. Gecko is actually a very large. These are native to Asia and some of your Pacific islands, but they have been established in other areas in the world, especially in Florida. Florida, as I've said before, has a really bad problem with exotic species. All of them are necessary, but exotic species. In fact, there are more exotic species in Florida than there are native species. But these live in rainforests in Asia, and they live predominantly on trees, but they'll also live on the side of cliffs. And it is actually the second largest species of gecko. I don't exactly remember what the largest species is. I think it's the Caledonian gecko, but these are a pretty big gecko. These are about 30 centimeters long, nose to tail. That's about 12 inches, so about a foot, about like that. Geckos are not a predominantly big species or big group of lizards. You can tell that it's cylindrical, but it's a little bit flattened actually. And it's kind of a robust gecko. Some geckos are really kind of small and their legs are kind of thin, almost looking bird-like, real frail looking. These are actually pretty robust for a gecko. As with other geckos, its tail can break into multiple sections. People have pulled off tails off lizards before, and they usually, on most lizards, the tail breaks at the base. On geckos, they can actually split it up into multiple parts, and when they grow back, they actually don't grow quite as big as they do. They do, and we will get into that. In fact, you can see them right there. But we'll get into that. As you can tell from this picture, these have vertical eyelids, vertical retinas, pupils, I guess I should say. Some gecko species have round pupils, but these are one of the ones that have the vertical slit. These can change the color of their skin, not quite as drastically as like aliens, but they can really kind of manipulate their skin color. But as you can see, normally they are this kind of bluish with red dots pattern sort of thing. But something that's super interesting to these actually is that you notice how there's all these skin folds on the on geckos, and those skin folds are actually for camouflage. When you have a bunch of skin folds like that, you don't really cast a shadow, so it makes it a predator really hard to see you just sitting there on a leaf, especially when you talk about, these are up in the trees. They're living in real dappled light environments, so that those skin folds are actually really, really good for camouflage. Now, these are an aggressive gecko. These will get very territorial. They have a very strong bite. They are known to cause blood if they bite you. So don't let these bite you. These eat insects, fruits, vegetation, small vertebrates. I mean, they kind of eat whatever they want. Now, see, the call that you heard, let's restart it from the beginning, if it will. On. So this call right here, that's actually a Tokay gecko's mating call. So that is a male croaking to tell a female, I'm here and I'm ready. I'm single and ready to mingle. Now, when these are threatened or they're scared, they get scared. If you scare these, they'll actually open their mouth really wide, kind of like this, but even wider. They'll actually kind of bark, kind of like a small dog would. Now, one of the things about these is there is a bunch of illegal trade going on in these. There's a lot of herbal medicines that all Tokay geckos are a special recipe for. They do certain things. I want to say they're an aphrodisiac, or they help with infertility. You know, these are getting harvested illegally at a relatively alarming rate. They're not exactly in trouble yet, but they are still being protected. Now, as Tavi said, as I mentioned earlier, yes, you can have these as a pet. They're actually pretty common, and you can find reputable breeders that are not getting these from the illegal. Now, going into what Tavi was asking, the toe beans, the toe pads, by far one of the most interesting thing about geckos, and I encourage you, please do some research on these gecko pads, and it will astound you. These toe pads right here are what give the geckos incredible grip, why they can go up on sheer glass walls. Now, does anyone know why these can climb sheer glass walls without slipping, as long as it's dry? Does anybody know why? We'll cut this out of the video, see if anyone has any ideas. Leverage. That's a terrible answer. That's it? No one's got anything? For shame. But no, okay. So, how a gecko toe pad works. It is actually kind of like leverage. I wouldn't say 100% leverage, but what happens is on these pads, there are little hairs that are grouped in kind of like a triangular form. Hundreds of thousands of these hairs, hundreds and thousands of. Each of those individual hairs is called a seta. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it, but think about it. You've got a little microscopic hair that's coming from these pads. Now, on each one of those individual hairs that's microscopic actually splits even further into hundreds of spatulae. So you have a microscopic hair that actually splits into hundreds of micro hairs right at the end. And they're so small, actually, that the electrons from the spatulae, remember the tiniest hairs, the electrons from those actually will essentially bond with the electrons from the wall. Essentially, their toe pads act as electromagnets with the very atoms in the wall. That's why they can go up sheer glass across a sheer wall that has no sort of imperfection to it. It's actually just because they are bonding electromagnetically to the wall themselves. It's incredible. In fact, it is so out there that I know for a fact the military has invested a lot of money into research on just how gecko pads work. Because it's not just the fact that they are sticking to the wall, it's the fact that they unstick their toes so well to start climbing. And there's a lot of thinking about that, and they kind of think it's just the angles that these hairs kind of split off just happen to be where they hold. But as soon as they pull up like this, they're able to, it just picks up. Now you think, oh well, it's just holding up a small lizard. You know, does it really have to be that strong? It has been tested that these pads, the pads on a gecko, can support up to 450 pounds. 450 pounds. That would be, I don't know, three adult men, basically. Not American men, but average, non-big American men. About 3 men the pads on this could support. That is incredible when you think about it. Just absolutely out there, amazing. Yes, Shane, exactly. They kind of bond with the surface and then they unbond with it. It's being studied to this day. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you do, I would really appreciate it. Please give me a suggestion on what you would like to see. Don't forget to check out our Fish Friday series, and don't forget to check out our special animal series. Probably gonna have a special animal video very soon. Maybe this same day. Never know. But thank you guys so much again. Take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and peace.